Yeah.
I mean, the prep, the room, the cleansing, the anesthesia. There was no, just sedation. You know, they just kind of put me to sleep.
Was it carpal tunnel? Or?
Okay,
No,
we are
trigger
live
finger.
whenever you're ready.
I'm calling the meeting to order. Roll call. Looks like we've got all the members, well, except for Robert and Tony. But we have a quorum. Agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve it?
Do you want to bring that up now?
I wanted to know if you guys wanted to add, at the end of the meeting last month, we had a discussion about Grand Run Hospital, and I know Steve has done some work on that, and I didn't think to put that on the agenda.
Can we put that old business?
Old or new, I don't know.
Okay,
Where
it won't take,
go, Steve?
won't take very long.
Okay. So are we putting under old business?
Yeah, and I'm gonna just say, and I'm just gonna,
Update?
Well, I think it
Grand
goes
Run-
under
supposed
new
to go
really
under new.
because we
Okay.
haven't talked about it
Alright.
before.
okay,
Alright. So I'll put it under C, Grand Run Hospital update.
yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the November 2024 minutes.
So that's the November, okay, it just says that I did something and I wasn't there. In the agenda
Oh.
I think
approval,
there's two there, I'm
Oh.
gonna steal one.
Oh,
Let's
so that
see.
needs to be changed.
it was probably one of those motion seconds
Yeah,
that
right.
I
Yeah.
Did I
Didn't quite
just-
catch.
brought
Right.
from the last
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, the agenda.
All right, so we'll say Tony. Let's see, it was introduced by Clements.
Smith.
Oh, it had to have been Tony.
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Because I
Tony
didn't,
Right.
I didn't do
Yeah.
it.
Smith.
Yes, Smith, sorry.
That's all.
Good catch. Okay. Motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye. You abstain.
Okay, probably no public comments since there's no public here. Old business, Tree City USA Growth Award.
I just wanted to let you guys know that I did submit the applications for the 2024 certification for the Growth Award, and then also submitted the info for the Tree City USA and the info for the Growth Award. And so our total per capita expenditure for 2024 was $21.62, which is pretty darn good, considering the requirement is $2 per capita. Of
Oh.
course, but when you have a city like New York or something like that,
Oh my God.
Then,
When it costs to run Central Park?
yeah, so they have a harder time,
Right.
getting that because they
Right.
have so many people. But anyway, and then for the growth awards categories, what do we have? We had grants, our grant applications. They give you credit for applying for grants, whether or not you get them or not. So I put that in. Green jobs, because we had our seasonal. I went in and put tree planting in because you can do that every year. Planting to removal ratio you can do every year, and young tree training.
Trading or
Training, young tree training you can do every year. Oh, and then recycling and reuse for our wood chip recycling. And then the last thing I put in was you get points for doing a community forestry report for city council, so I stuck that in there too.
Cool.
Great.
Sorry, so the trade training, the what training?
Our 3-year program to make sure that the trees are successfully established.
So what'd you call it?
Training.
Training.
Young
Training. For training trees.
training.
Young, I told you, sit. They don't
I know.
respond very well.
I
You
know.
have to give them a lot of trees.
I know, just typing and thinking, it doesn't work. All right.
That's what they call it. I call it pruning.
Yeah,
Anyway.
right.
Come on, tree, sit,
Yeah.
stay. Sit, sit, tree.
Shake them, shake, shake.
So anyway, we'll hear back from them probably in February, I think, is usually when we hear back.
Cool. New business, CGI grant application.
Okay, so we kind of had a last minute second grant that we applied for. It was through the Oregon Land Conservation and Development.
DLCD,
Yes,
Department of Land and Conservation.
Yes,
something.
that thing, yeah.
yeah.
LCDC.
So anyway, and theirs was specifically for community green infrastructure, and so.
Does that mean trees?
Anything green infrastructure, but mostly trees,
Okay.
yeah. And so what I put in for was funding for our Island Avenue project. Mulching, grading, getting new trees planted out there. And, let's see, I'm trying to remember what the grant total was.
Where will that be?
It'll be an extension of the Island Avenue Greenway, so from like Starbucks toward Island City. Because when we had our work session, we talked about that Island City being our next step.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so that's why I
Mhm.
chose that for that
And
project.
when did that go in and what was the amount?
It just went in on December 2nd was the due
Okay.
date, and I'm trying to find the amount, just a minute.
Does it help? It must help you to have sort of project ideas in the hopper.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Because then something like this comes up, and maybe
Yep.
is that something, I don't know where you are with how full that hopper is, but is there something that we might want to, spend?
Any kind of improvement project, because that's actually in your guys' mandate,
Right.
is to be looking at improvement projects.
Right.
So, yeah, anything that you have.
I just wondered if we might want to schedule some time in a meeting early next year and just spend 20 minutes just brainstorming
Mhm.
project ideas and get some on the table that looked feasible, and then we and maybe just do some initial fact gathering and idea building, that type of thing.
Well, for some reason, I didn't print off, I'm not seeing the budget part in here. What was it? It was around 79,000.
I'm showing you guys this webpage. Let's load up,
There's the
whatever.
timeline. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. 79,830.
Okay.
What? Too big now. Anyway, yeah.
We got it.
Did you have to do? Is it all online that you had to put it in?
Yeah,
or-
this is actually the application right here.
Okay.
This is all the things. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can scroll through it if you want, Stu.
Well, I
There's
don't
only
know.
17 pages.
Don't you love grants?
No, this is the original one, so it's fine. I clicked on the wrong one. But anyway,
Okay.
it's fine.
Yeah,
What
that's
is-
cool.
What does the CGI stand for?
Community green infrastructure.
Green infrastructure.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So that will include bringing in fill and creating an even grade, not a up to grade, but a even grade. And then bringing in mulch,
Color
and then the
one.
trees. And the trees, that was one of the emphasis of the grant was working with large stature, climate resilient trees.
Good.
And with a nod toward natives. And so what I submitted was a combination of deciduous trees not native, because we have no good deciduous trees for urban areas, and our native ponderosa pine. So it
Cool.
would be a
How many trees?
40 total.
Nice.
So the other big focus of the grant was underrepresented communities, and we pitched it. And one of the things brought up was a manufactured dwelling park, which
Yeah,
is
so
right
that's-
there.
that's
So-
Oh, right, yeah.
If
Okay.
the manufactured dwelling park is right along the other side of the tracks from the highway. So we pitched the
Great.
idea that it would sequester carbon with the trains and the traffic, as well as create a visual barrier, a light pollution barrier between the car dealership
Right.
and the trailer.
Right.
Sorry, not
What
the
was your
trailer park.
term? Environmental buffer.
Environmental buffer.
Does-
Environmental buffer.
It goes all along that north side of Island Avenue out to just before the island?
No,
that-
it's a short section, so
Okay.
it'd be
40
like
trees.
phase one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the greenway ends right here.
Yep,
and
here's
this
the
would-
main lane
Yep,
entrance.
and basically
Main lane,
would
okay.
plant all the way along this.
Until the end of the
Mobile
trailers.
home.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Because when you get past this point, that swale
Yeah.
becomes much more
Yeah.
pronounced.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a lot.
So
of
here-
fill.
What's this?
That's
That's-
the car
that's the
dealership.
car.
That's Ford
That's
Legacy.
Ford.
Okay.
Garage with,
So we have
Okay.
a pretty good argument, I think. It's a pretty good
Yeah.
application, so
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
we'll see. Because we meet the mobile home part,
Right,
we meet
that's
the
nice.
carbon sequestration, we meet the environmental, whatever I call it, buffer. Anyway, there's some good ones in there.
Great.
It's a good-
Cool.
yeah, so fingers crossed.
So when would, if we got the money, when would those be planted?
This one is a shorter turnaround time, so I had to submit it because they wanted everything done within 18 months.
Oh,
So we're looking at next year.
right.
Okay,
And I
20,
really want you guys to know that Teresa, I'm proud of her because she's not done a lot of grant writing, right?
Not of this size. I did.
Those are big.
Those are big grants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's over $400,000 in the next 3 or 4 years that we
That
wrote
comes
grants
in,
for.
right.
That
exciting.
she wrote grants for.
Okay,
It's
cool.
great.
Well, Stu helped.
Not much.
And you've learned.
Well.
Yeah, you learned.
Yeah, it's great.
So the 2025 work plan.
Okay, so I sent that out. So, this is what, you have to submit this as part of your Tree City USA application. So, but I wanted you guys to take a look at it just to make sure,
You sent that to us, right?
Yep, yep. And I'd be happy, if you want a hard copy, I'd be happy to make you one.
Thanks.
So I sent it out so you guys could take a look at it. Just, most of it is all the same as last year. There's a few additions and we'll talk about those.
Okay,
Did
there's
you
the-
send this out with the agenda and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I could put it on the big screen too, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
I know I have paper in front of me, person.
I need to do what Leah does. Bring my iPad.
Yeah, it wasn't charged up though, so I had a huge extension.
When you do the survey in the parks, what do? You just go walk around each tree,
Yep, I just
get
do a
an
walk
assessment of what they
around.
need.
Mhm, see if there, like, if there's hangers or something that looks like it might be a risk.
I think yeah, this one survey trees at Morgan Lake and schedule commercial thinning. No,
Basically, all I do is walk the areas where people use the most.
Yeah.
The trail and
Yeah.
the camp areas and the picnic areas, just to make sure there's not something that looks like it's gonna fall
Yeah.
over.
and I joke. I mean, you couldn't. I don't think you'd get a logger in there for such a small barn. I don't think you could pull 10,000, 20,000 board feet out of there. And not that I want that, so
I heard that.
Yeah.
I crush that.
I'm
Is
like,
it
what are
Union
you
County
talking
expert
about,
at that?
Steve?
Don't.
Why are you even thinking this way? I'm
Do we
wondering.
want to talk about marijuana?
Nope, nope.
So
Nope.
I see
Not in-
identify
not in the
10
city.
high risk
Nope, not in the city.
poor condition street trees, and we had one on O that fell over.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful,
Was that the
huge
massive
silver
one?
maple.
That's the one, Teresa, I was telling you about. I was telling her about this massive
It was
tree that,
massive.
like, the stump was sort of left there, the
Yeah.
base of it.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, it's massive.
it was.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what they do.
did you look at them like
Uh-uh.
before? Okay, because
No.
I didn't know if the other one didn't seem as rotten, but anyway,
How
they were
long they live.
big trees.
Were they just rotten on the inside?
Now I have to
Silver maples will do that.
Yeah.
let me look and see if we're talking about the same tree.
It hit the roof
Yeah.
and then it hit the car.
Yeah,
when it-
707-0.
Yeah,
And I actually did recommend that both trees be removed.
Oh, yeah.
For information about it.
Because, well, the problem was, years ago, they were topped.
yeah, I thought so.
And
Yeah, so they got rotted.
Yeah.
But it had to have been a long time ago because
Mhm.
they're big and beautiful. But yeah,
Yeah, so that is, because when you were saying huge tree, I was thinking huge, these,
Yeah.
huge.
And
no,
that's
it was bigger.
But it was laying on its side,
No,
right?
no, no.
So
It was
looked
bigger
massive.
than that.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
so-
the
so-
one that
yeah.
broke out, that hit the house,
Yeah.
was- yeah, it was pretty good size around.
Yeah.
making from my
But
tree estimate.
They
size.
grow really big.
I'm going with you, Stu. It
I
was
was
that
like,
big.
oh, it's a big tree.
Well,
I know.
it's just funny because I get calls from people and they say, yeah, we have this big tree, and I go out and it's like this big around.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you want to see? I can show you big tree.
Yeah, it should be big.
Anyway, the things that I wanted to point out, just if you go on the first page, if you go down and then 3 lines above the bottom where it says coordinate the 2025 street tree pruning contract for management zone 1. That was on our last year's plan, and it didn't happen because Public Works was focusing their IRA money on pruning where they're doing street improvement. And so I bumped that to this current year, hoping that we can get that moving.
And this is like, anyone can come and see how to prune?
No, it's the street tree clearance pruning. So we had contracted with millers for a period of 6 years to go through
up
the city.
to a certain height, okay.
And then I was hoping that we would continue that program. So I think with some tweaks, maybe we will be. We're still working on that.
So, question on page 2, I think it is, about halfway down. It's there's two sequential rows. Post UF Tech position opening, and then it says post Urban Forester position opening, and one was March and the other one was July. Is that what? I don't understand that.
So the tech person, actually, do we post before March? Did I
Okay,
get that
that's
wrong?
a tech. Got it. I
Yeah.
missed that piece.
That's our seasonal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not called tech in the city's budget. That's Teresa's term of art.
Yeah.
It's called Parks Maintenance Seasonal or something.
Okay.
It's called Seasonal Parks and Public Works, really.
And are you retiring?
I am.
When?
Wow.
Just a year. I bumped it out to next December, end of
Okay.
the year.
Where are we gonna find somebody?
Well, that's why
That's
we're
why we have
posting
that-
it in July.
You know, we
And
have
then-
that grant to
Yeah.
try to.
Yeah.
That's,
Hope if that comes through, that'll be a good thing.
What, the retirement or the, no?
You'll
Yes.
enjoy it. Let's put it this way. I can attest to the fact that retirement is a good thing.
Well, and then Stu is hoping that we can bring somebody on,
yeah.
a month or so before I
Yeah.
leave, so that they can kind of,
Yeah.
we can work together.
We'll budget for that,
Yeah,
whether we get
yes.
the grant or
The
not.
grant, yeah.
Is that,
Right.
anything more?
Let's see, the only other thing that was new from last year is I just put in those placeholders for if we get the grants. Oh, and then the other thing I just wanted to mention is I had talked with the Parks guy and Stu about having a dedicated line item in our budget to rotate through the parks. So that 1 year we prune Riverside, next year Pioneer, next year Benton Y, whatever. So that would be a 4-year. I think we divided it up into 4 years. And so initially that was supposed to come out of the parks budget, but they had some other expenses, so we're gonna look at seeing if I can squeak that out of my budget for this year. And then
Okay.
going forward, we'll put that in as a line item for the parks, or the urban forestry budget.
How come-
Urban
how come
Forestry,
us and
just
not
move it
Parks?
over to, yeah.
Because I'm the one that organizes it, and so
Okay.
Stu just thought it would make more sense. I guess, was that your reasoning?
My reasoning was so it doesn't get lost in the other parks maintenance tasks. So they have like 75
Yeah.
things to fix, and Teresa has like 2, and not really, but
But
essentially.
just
right?
trees.
Uh-huh.
Just
Right.
so that way, if it's in her budget, then it will be for trees versus, oh, this irrigation backflow had to get fixed, so we can't do trees now.
Right.
Which
Okay.
is what happened essentially, because that's like 10 grand for
Yeah.
backflows. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the budget for the park printing was only 7,000, so.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's all I've got for that.
What will you budget for it?
7,000. I figure we could do it for that,
Okay.
if we do it on a 4-year.
Okay.
So the other thing is if you guys think of something else that you wanna add to this.
So this is Grand Run Hospital update. So the last meeting we talked about the arboretum that is where at the intersection of Sunset and K, where Central Elementary was, and there was some concern about the hospital owning that property and what they might do with it. So I emailed Vicky Brasciati, who's now the public information officer for the
Not
hospital.
Vicky, but Corinne. Vicky's her mom.
It's not
Mother-in-law.
Carrie?
What's that?
That's
It's
her
not
mother-in-law. It's-
Corinne?
Oh, that's right,
Corinne.
Corinne.
Corinne or
Yeah,
Corinne?
Corinne.
Yeah.
So this is what, I asked her about her new job because she had been with the Observer. Anyway, it sounds like the information shared with the Community Landscape and Forest Commission is half correct. GRH did indeed purchase property from the LeGrand School District. That property has been used as a staging space for boat and construction during construction. In the future, that space will likely be developed into additional parking for staff. So that's, you can see that spot. It's to the south of where the Arboretum is. Along with growth in our campus comes growth in employees, and parking is a premium here for staff and our patients. There's just not enough to run. That said, the property we purchased does not include the Arboretum.
It's just like that, if you divided that block in half, it's that
Yes.
quarter
Yes,
next to the Arboretum.
right. So,
So can we be involved, like, in telling them that they should need to plant lots of trees around it?
There's gotta be ordinances and.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
they probably have to do some
they'll have-
landscaping when they
Yeah,
develop the
they'll have to
parking lots.
submit a site plan.
Sure. I just think we should be more, really pay attention because it's right next to where kids play, and so there should be lots of big trees.
And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I've got
Yeah,
dinner to
yeah.
go to, but just to put this in your head, the Arbor Day Foundation does offer tree campus certifications for
Right.
healthcare facilities, so that may be something that we want to work with Grand Island Hospital on
Okay.
in the future.
Anyway, I don't think we need to worry about anything unless the school district decides that, you know, this landscaping that they need someplace else, so they're just gonna
Sure.
take that. Anyway, no, you didn't hear me say that. So,
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Okay. Well,
So
it
that's,
still
Faster than I
bothers
can give
me
it up, but anyway, that's.
that,
keep
I
going.
don't know, did the school just, are they able to sell property without public input? I mean, maybe I just missed it, but
That I
it
don't
seems to
know.
me that they shouldn't be able to sell
Go to your, push to your right.
public land.
No, other way. You've got the log, Eric, now, keep going.
It's slow to.
What is that?
That's the railroad.
Yeah,
Oh,
keep
yeah.
going to the right, keep
Hey.
going, downtown.
We're almost there.
Things will
We're
be
getting
great
closer.
when you're downtown.
Okay, I wish
There's-
there's a better way to do this.
Yeah.
That's the,
Teresa, you don't know the
So
person
there it
who
is,
does
right
I
the
see it.
landscaping at the hospital.
Um,
thought
I
there was a
do.
person.
right there,
No, wait,
you just had to
yes, I
point on
do.
it.
It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
young guy.
Oh,
I'd have to go back and look, but he did actually ask me to come up and go through and look at some of the trees up
Actually
there
shows
with
the
them.
construction
He had some
site too,
questions
so-
about
Yeah.
it.
You can
That's
see
a
the
fairly
staging
new-
area.
So yes,
Yeah,
somewhere
it's
I
fairly
do
new.
have.
So this
that.
is
Photograph.
untouched.
Yep,
But
that's
he's
not-
just the
that's
groundskeeper.
Still belongs to the,
So
to
it
the,
would probably be
school district.
somebody
It looks like
higher
they
up
sold some sort of
who
flag
would
lot.
Deal with.
Yeah, it does, but they also show it, there
But yeah.
is now an ingress egress off of Sunset into that parking lot.
Makes sense.
right.
So, all right,
To answer your question, I think there was a public process.
Was there?
And I think
Okay.
that happened a couple, 3 years ago maybe,
Okay.
before they started construction.
I don't know if it was in a paper or anything. Anyway, okay, staff reports, urban forester.
So I sent my staff report out, unless you guys had any specific questions about it. I don't think there was anything too. I don't think so. Nope. I think oh, the only thing I will point out is that if you look on the stats
Yeah.
under street trees pruned, so when I was doing the Tree City USA report, I include what Public Works spends on their tree expenses, and under theirs was $21,000 for street tree pruning. So I went, okay, so they must have been doing some street tree pruning, but they didn't. That was part of this deal, is they were so supposed to loop me in. And so I called Eric, and he said, yep, we were pruning, and I'd be happy to track it for you going forward. And he just estimated 300 trees. So that's what I put in there. Because I wanted there to be a record that that was actually happening. I don't have an exact number.
Do they do a good job?
Millers?
Do you think?
Yeah, they do a good
For
job.
Public, okay.
Oh, they, I mean, they do a good job within the parameters. I always would like more to be done. Public Works wants the minimum to be done just to get the clearance pruning.
Okay.
And I always put in, if there's a hanger, if there's something that looks like it needs more attention, let me know, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Stu, you got a report?
Yeah. Okay, mine is commissioner vacancies. So there, it looks like Jennifer Williams is up in 2024. Her term expires. If you know her, you should encourage her to reapply.
Thank you.
Or if you
I've got
already
I've got my form.
Yeah.
I'll submit it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Then the following, Steve Clements and Robert Henderson are in 2025.
Oh, we're up?
In next December
Okay.
from now. And Tony is 26. So they're staggered.
When's Leah?
Leah's 25 with Steve.
Okay,
No,
wait.
no, Leah's 26 with Tony.
okay,
Steve and Robert are 25.
okay.
So y'all get the letter next November. I think
Yep.
she sent it out about November. But that brings the question of Robert Henderson's not been able to attend a lot of meetings. And his term expires in next December. So in the Parks Commission, we had this conversation, and it was somebody couldn't attend very often. And one of the commissioners decided to reach out to that person and say, "What's up? Can you attend or not? We really need you." And she said, "I gotta let it go." So she resigned. If that's what you want to do, great. Love for one of you to do that. If you're cool with him missing meetings and being here as much as he can, that's okay too. There's nothing in the ordinance or resolution that says you have to, if you miss whatever, 3 meetings, you're out.
Right.
You can be removed for other things by city council or, other behavioral things, but not that. So just wanted to open that up for discussion because it came up earlier.
It doesn't bother me that he's not here, but I also think that we would benefit more from being here more often.
I
You know.
agree. I'm a little concerned about, I remember when we talked about this before, I seen it, should he keep doing it, or he said they can't always come.
Right.
We've had trouble getting somebody, so that like if he were to
The steps
just
in.
resign, we might not
Right.
be.
You might just have 4.
Right, because I don't have people that I can, it's like, how do you find people? So,
Right.
um,
Let me
Yeah.
let me
But it would
follow
be
up
nice
with this
to-
contact that I had from a young woman at EOU.
Okay.
See what she thinks, how she feels about it. And if she's interested at all, then, the appointments are gonna be filled in January for whoever applies.
Right.
But if we don't get a hold of Rob.
No offense.
Yes, no Spence. Sorry, no Spence is calling.
If we don't get a reply, if we contact Robert between now and our meeting in January and get a call from him, a decision from him, then I would at least have someone that we might be able to tap.
So do we is 5 the max?
Right now,
Yeah.
5 is, yeah, it used to be 7, and we
but
were
then we could
having,
never get a quorum.
yeah, we couldn't get a quorum, so they
Okay.
dropped it down to
Okay.
5.
We couldn't even get 7 commissioners.
Right.
No.
So if this woman is interested, then Robert, I bet, would resign.
It's possible, and I'll email her. I got to email her about some other things, so I'll drop this one in her lap and see what she
Okay.
says.
And sorry to
Nope.
interrupt, the counterpoint to your point is that if we don't have a vacancy, they can't advertise for
I
it.
Right.
know.
So therefore, unfortunately, fall is when they do that,
Yeah.
November, December. So they do this huge push, we do it on social
Okay.
media, we do it in
Yeah.
mailboxes and email and city website, all the things, right? And so if they publicize all these vacancies, and if
It's too
that's not on there, then
Nobody knows.
nobody
I know.
knows.
Right.
So we can't judge if we can
I
fill it or
know.
not.
Yeah.
Right.
So the timing's a little off,
Yeah,
but
it
on the
is.
flip side, if somebody did come upon that in late, and then the city recorder's office or the city manager's office could say, yeah, we have a vacancy in that. if he did resign. So
Yeah.
that's the count.
I think
So his is up in January and he'd have to read?
No, they're, everything
Okay.
ends
Yeah,
in
it's
December, so
December.
Jen's
Yeah.
over this December,
Oh, right,
this
yeah,
month,
Yeah,
and then she'll renew
yeah, yeah.
for another 4-year term, or whatever it is. I think somebody needs to reach out to Robin. I don't feel comfortable doing that, haven't been, worked with him enough, just this 1 year.
And we can, I mean,
Yeah, I don't mind.
it's, they had a relationship with that person, so they were able to just say, yep, I'll call her.
Yeah,
But yeah, we can do that.
So if he decides to resign, like in February, then will you let someone, will the city
Yeah.
appoint
Well,
someone for the rest of his term?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Right.
If
We-
somebody.
right,
if
somebody steps
applies.
up.
Right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
if this woman would be
right,
interested.
so if
Okay.
Robert decides that he's gonna step down, we can recruit somebody and get them to put an application in, and then the council,
Yeah.
the mayor will make the appointment at some point.
Okay,
And it would expire in December of
December.
25.
Right.
We'd have to reapply.
Right.
Right.
yeah,
A couple months later.
sure,
Right, because he's filling a vacancy.
Right,
That would
okay.
be a vacancy.
sounds good.
So
is that,
staff will reach out to Robert and engage that.
thank
Yep.
you. So is that the whole report for you, Stu?
That's it, yep.
Okay. Pending business IRA grant application?
I just stuck it on there because eventually we'll find out.
Talk about
Yep.
it, yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to show you something under commissioner comments.
Ah,
In our travels, we were taking the train from Sacramento to Denver. And look at that. I thought some commissioners might want to see this.
Oh,
That was in Sacramento. So we walked around. Let me see if I can. You can kind of zoom in and see that tree has swallowed those.
Oh, the bands that used to hold
hose
it
thing
up,
that people
yeah,
put in there.
yeah, to keep it,
I don't know if
and they didn't take it
knew
down.
that trees could do that, but
if you go
Yeah.
over here on Walnut, just and go one block down on the corner, there's a Norway maple about this big around. And when I first started working there was a fence post, a T-post that somebody had used to stake it when it first went in. And at that
Oh,
time, there was
yeah.
probably this much of the fence post still sticking out of the top of the side of the tree. Now there's like this much sticking out of that tree. So whoever cuts that tree down,
Ooh.
Well, think about
Adult
what,
chainsaw.
Yeah.
think about what environmentalists used to do with spikes.
Right.
They just go into the forest, randomly find a tree and nail something into it, and then in a year or two, you didn't know the tree had a spike.
yeah.
And logger comes up, and that chainsaw.
dangerous.
Oh boy, somebody needs to paint that maple tree.
It's in the inventory.
Yeah,
I took a picture of it, and it's in the inventory.
yeah, but
So,
yeah, I hate to be the person
I
who
know.
sets
in a
chainsaw.
few
to
more
that
years, it'll be gone, and you
thing.
won't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, so we had tree care in education, and that's, any other commissioner comments?
No.
Motion to adjourn?
So move.